difficulties last week. We were not able to hold it, so we will be holding it tonight. Jeff, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good deal.
Yay.
Okay. Larry, please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic
Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everybody can mute yourself if you're not speaking or on the board, that would be great.
Roll call.
Jeff Renahan, First Ward.
Is Bill Carlos in? Was he in the meeting earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, so he might just be late maybe. Jessica, are you out there? And we will move to microphone.
Microphone, Fourth Ward.
Stefan Krakauer, Fifth Ward.
Ann Shershon, Sixth Ward.
Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, attorney for the town.
John Baisley, Town Supervisor. Good evening, everybody. Tonight's meeting, our first on the agenda will be a presentation by KRC Planning Consultants in reference to 8 Tucker Drive rezoning. And then after that, we have the town board meeting. We have a public hearing for stop signs, intersections on Saddle Rock Road. And number 2, appoint Brooke Page as a full-time police assistant. Number 3, sign agreement with the Dutchess County SPCA. 4, resolution of Hudson Heritage Sewer District. 5, contract with CPL for engineering. 6, certificate of attendance for Nicole Giamatti, Ben Pagnelli, and Carl Whitehead for the planning department. 7, authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with 340 Sheaf Road Property LLC. 8, tax search settlement HD Page Realty, page 5 in Fox Run, Fulton Street. 9, authorize Valentine's vendor pop-up event at Eastdale Village. 10, appoint court attendants. 11, waive a liquor license for the Cheese Grill, 805 Dutchess Turnpike. 12, a resolution for senior and disability exemption, executive order. 13, appoint Carolyn Fenner to the CAC. 14, authorize the supervisor to sign a letter agreement with Suez, who manages our wastewater treatment plant. And we have 2 SCs, a donation from Rita S. Sims for the Highway Department, and Health Department Dependent Care FSA amendments for the town employees. With that, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item on the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody that would like to speak to any item on the agenda? Star 9 to raise your hand, star 6 to mute or unmute yourself. Anybody, please?
I see no hands raised.
Okay. Motion to
I
resume the
see
rules?
nothing in the chat.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. So the first presentation we have is KARC Planning Consultants, 8 Tucker Drive rezoning. Kelly Leibel is here to present that. Kelly, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Would you like me to share my screen, or would you like me to do a presentation and everyone has the handouts in front of them?
No, you can share the screen for the people that don't have any handouts. That would be great.
Okay. Great. Can everyone see the screen?
It says Kelly has started screen sharing. Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good. Thank you. So as you mentioned, this property is located at 8 Tucker Drive. For those of you, obviously everyone knows the town of Poughkeepsie. This is a lot that's sort of hidden in the back behind the building that houses the Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union. It's a small little flag lot with an access drive that is the same access drive used by the Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union. It's actually owned by this property, fee simple. And it's approximately 11 acres. It's vacant land that has been sitting for many, many years. And if you recall, this property actually was previously in the IL zoning district. It's currently in the BSC zoning district, and that occurred several years ago. I think Neil Wilson was still there, and there was a effort by the town to try to get some focus on some development into this area, and many of these parcels were rezoned into the BSC district. So this evening, what we're seeking is permission from the town board to rezone the property to IH to permit the use of a contractor's yard. For those of you who know this property, and I'd be happy to do a site walk with you if you'd like to, there are very, very few uses that this property could be utilized for. I've actually worked with Eric, Neil, and Mike on this parcel with several different developers who have wanted to do a variety of different proposals on the property. And because it's a flag lot, and I'll explain this to you, and because it is bound by some wetlands and the limited accessibility of the property for utilities, this is really a desirable use. It is adjacent to the rail trail, and what we're proposing is the construction, and I'll show you this later, but the construction of a single structure and some outdoor storage for purposes, again, to use the property as a contractor's yard. So that just gives you a bearing of where the property is. We did provide you with a copy of the survey map. So again, on the screen, this is that access drive that is used by the Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union. This area here is the Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union, and this is the adjoining property that is also utilized as that access drive. We've delineated the wetlands on the property. As you can see, this little line that I'm covering is the edge of the wetland on both sides. So the upland area is essentially the rear of the site, and we did provide you with the wetland report in the documentation that we had given to you. This is just an aerial photograph showing the property. Again, this is the access drive, and then this is the upland portion of the property that is the developable area. This just provides you with an information. Again, all of this is in the packet of the wetlands that are on site, and we have had the wetlands delineated by Ecological Solutions. Again, just additional mapping to show you the property. This whole area, as many of you know, is in the floodplain. Fortunately, the area that we're proposing to develop on is in the upland part, so we're out of the floodplain, but we're cognizant of the fact that the access drive and so forth are in the floodplain. This just shows you a picture of the access to the back of the property. So there was a transient visitor on the property that has since been removed, but there is an access driveway there that was already constructed many years ago and crosses a water body. Just gives you a sense of what the property looks like once you're inside on the upland area. What the applicant is proposing, again, is the development of one single-story structure. This is the existing access drive into the property, and this is the existing driveway that is currently used by Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union and the adjoining property. They're proposing just a single-story structure, again, for use as a contractor's yard. This structure that we're referencing would have garage bays and would be utilized to store vehicles or equipment. We are proposing small area here, here, and here for some outdoor storage. The site is extensively screened, as you can see, and with a site visit you can also see. We are sufficiently outside of the wetland and the wetland buffer area, here being the wetland. So all of the development shown on here is in an area that's as of right, that's the upland area. This is simply just a photo of what the intent of the building would look like. Just a single-story structure with the bays facing the front. And we will provide you with, we're in the process of preparing the renderings, but I just wanted to give you a sense of what the applicant was looking for and trying to achieve on the building. So this project, because it is a rezone application, as you well know, it involves the planning board as well. So the process is town board reviews the project, and at a point at which time you're sufficiently happy with the project, you refer the project generally over to the planning board for the seeker review. Planning board concludes the seeker review, and historically then we would come back to the town board for rezone and then back to the planning board for site plan approval. So again, it's a little bit of a back and forth and back and forth. We think that, again, hopefully, you know, again, with a site visit or something that we can illustrate to you, I can personally tell you I've been out to this site many times, and there isn't a lot that this property can be used for, and I think this is really an ideal use. Again, because of the proximity of the wetlands, there is sufficient screening around the property, and we'll certainly work with the town board and the planning board to ensure that that exists. There isn't much else that you're going to see on this particular parcel moving forward. And we think that the BSC zoning, although, good intentions to try to encourage some development in that area, perhaps this parcel may not be the benefit of that rezoning, and the rezone back to the industrial use is more appropriate use for the property. So we did provide you with a very complete package. I'm happy to answer any of the questions that you have, and I'll turn that back over to you. If you'd like me to stop sharing my screen, I can do that, or I can leave it up.
No, you can stop
Kelly,
sharing.
if you just for a minute, could you point out where the rail trail is on your map so I can get an
Yes.
idea?
It's right here.
So it runs along the back of your property line.
Correct. If I go up, let me just switch to the aerial photograph, Bill, and maybe that will help. So this is the property that we're talking about. This is the little driveway. You can see the rail
That's the rail
trail.
trail.
Yep,
Okay.
in this photo.
So the building will be visible from the rail trail.
It may not, and I think that we could probably show you there's a lot of, so this is a ton of screening right here. Here's the rail trail, so it's a sufficient distance away. We can, provide you with that distance. We're also showing a 30-foot landscape buffer, and then the property is 50 foot away from, or the building is 50 foot away from the property line. So there's a pretty extensive buffer there, but we can show that to you.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm sure the planning board can do their work on that. I just
Very well.
wanted to know where it was, so I could have a frame. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Kelly, it's
Yes.
Stefan Krakauer. I like it. When you look at the map, it's hard to figure something else to put there, and it looks like a nice building. I mean, as long as it's within the regulation with the buffer, the wetland buffers, and some sort of a little bit of landscape on the back end by the rail trail. I mean, the building looks nice in and of itself.
Good, thank you.
I like it.
Thank you.
Looks good. Thank you.
Kelly, out of the 11 acres that are there, how much of that are actually wetland?
That's a good question, and I should have had that ready for you. I think 3 acres are wetland, if I'm correct. Sorry, 2 acres are wetland.
I said, out of that, how many do they actually anticipate using with the building and the storage?
3 acres. So 2 acres are wetland, 6 are forest, and then 3 will be disturbed of the total. So there'll still be, after the construction, 11 and a half total, 3 disturbed, 2 wetlands, and 6 forested, plus or minus. I know that doesn't add up, but that's a plus or minus. So it's really only 3 of the 11 is proposed to be disturbed.
Okay, anybody got anything else this time? No? If not, thanks, Kelly, and we'll get back to you. We'll wait to hear from the board, and then we'll get back to you for the next step.
Very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
And that's Jessica Ward, I assume, right? Third ward? That's third ward. Up
Is that
there.
the fourth?
Yeah,
Third, it'd be third, yeah.
third.
Yeah, it should be Jessica's. I don't see her yet.
All right, that brings us down to our presentation. The first thing on the agenda is a public hearing to amend Town Code Chapter 194, stop signs at intersections, Saddle Rock Road and Old Mill Road, Bridle Lane. I'd like to make a motion to open that public hearing. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 This is a term, maybe we'd like to discuss this public hearing. This is the time to discuss it. Star 6 to unmute yourself, or star 9, raise your hand.
This is Dave Cohen. Can you hear me?
Sure,
Yes,
go
we
ahead,
can.
Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I live on Saddle Rock. I did do an online petition of people in and around Saddle Rock and the neighborhood, and got a over 90% positive response saying that they were in favor of having the stop signs installed. Additionally, just driving on Saddle Rock, I live on Saddle Rock Drive. I've had a couple of close calls with people just flying right out of Old Mill or Bridle without stopping at all. In fact, one day driving my daughter to school, when she was in elementary school, I had someone come out of Old Mill, almost crash into the side of my car. And then I followed the gentleman until we got up near the elementary school, and I actually got out of the car and talked to him about it. I don't think he even realized what he had done. So that's sort of what got me motivated to look into the problem, that incident and several other close calls. And other people have had similar experiences in the neighborhood. So anyway, that's the backstory.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Mr. Nelson, go ahead.
There's an ad that ran on the 25th. And did that set the public hearing for the 3rd of February?
Yeah, so basically, there is an ad, and there's gonna be the public hearing on February 3rd, so you're gonna just be able to adjourn this till then, but just in case somebody wanted to show up,
And
time-wise,
keep
we
the
have-
hearing open
Yep.
till then?
keep it open, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And Dave, I have a question for you. You said you did a petition of neighbors. Did you do anything with that? Did you give it to Bill, or?
Yeah, I gave it to Bill, and I think Bill handled the paperwork from there. I'm sure he could
Did you
talk
bring,
on
did
that.
you give it to me, Bill, by any chance? I never remember seeing it.
If I haven't, I will.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this public hearing to February 3rd.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the only
I
reason
just
we're
have a-
adjourning this to February 3rd is the fact that we weren't able to hold a town board meeting last week. We just want to make sure everybody gets a chance, and we re-advertised it.
Yeah, I had to
There's no other-
re-advertise a Zoom in the paper just in case somebody missed it.
Yeah, and we
So-
wanted you to have your
So-
chance to speak tonight by being here, so it'll be on the next one also.
Okay, so I should attend again on February 3rd?
No, we have your comments now. That's fine. You can attend to see if it's voted on that night.
And then
but-
I'll have the petition too by then, I'm sure. So you should be all set unless you'd like to join us again. That would be fine.
Okay.
We
All
didn't
right,
see any
thanks.
opposition tonight, so
I don't think there'll be a problem.
yeah.
Okay, thanks so much.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
Nope, it doesn't really pass. It's just adjourned.
Motion passes to adjourn till
Thanks.
February 3rd.
Thanks
Five-
for reminding me of that, Jim.
5-0. That brings us to the regular town board meeting. Number 2, Mr. Renahan.
Yep, be resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Brooke Page to the position of permanent part-time police assistant with the town of Poughkeepsie Police Department at the grade 6, step 1 salary of $22.5664 per hour, which appointment is subject to probationary period of not less than 8 nor more than 26 weeks per civil service law effective February 1st, 2021. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Resolution number 3, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie.
That would be
does
6-0.
here- Can you hear me?
Isn't it?
I
Jessica's
can hear
the
you.
only one not here.
Yeah.
6-0.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean
That's
to
right.
interrupt.
Okay. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to sign a dog control housing agreement with the Dutchess County SPCA for the period of January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021 in substantially the form annexed. And be it further resolved that the town board further finds that it would not be in the best interest of the town to solicit alternative proposals or quotations for such service. And be it further resolved that the town board finds that this is a type 2 action requiring no environmental review. So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
You don't have to read the first page. Where you say, oh, it starts at whereas?
Yeah, this one does,
So
yeah.
start at the bottom at whereas.
Okay, the novel. Whereas a written petition in due form and containing the required signatures by the petitioner has been presented and filed in the office of the town clerk of the town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, for the establishment of Hudson Heritage Sewer District in the town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, hereinafter the sewer district, with improvements consisting of the construction of a sewer collection system, including original furnishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, appurtenances, and incidental improvements, and expenses in connection therewith, all as more fully described in a map plan and report on file in the office of the town clerk at a maximum cost of $11,320,000 to Article 12 of the town law, of which $6,086,270 would be incurred by the town but borne by the district users through the benefit assessments. And whereas an order was duly adopted by this town board on the 18th day of November 2020, reciting the filing of said petition, the fact that said petition was on file in the town clerk's office, the improvement proposed, the boundaries of the proposed sewer district, and the estimated expense thereof, and specifying the 16th day of December 2020 at 7 o'clock in the PM prevailing time of that day at Town Hall, 1 Walker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, in said town as the time and place where the town board would meet for the purpose of holding a public hearing to consider the petition and the question of establishing said proposed sewer district, and to hear all persons interested in the subject thereof concerning the same. And whereas notice of such hearing was duly posted and published in the manner and within the time prescribed by section 194 of the town law, and proof of said publication and posting has been presented to this town board. And whereas said public hearing was duly held by this town board at the time and place set forth in the aforesaid order, and considerable discussion upon the matter having been had, and all persons desiring to be heard were duly heard. And whereas the proposed method of financing the cost of said improvements after the contribution of $5,233,730,000 of improvements by the owner of the property as a developer's contribution consists of the issuance of not to exceed $6,086,270 serial bonds of said town maturing in annual installments over a period not exceeding 40 years, which will be payable in the first instance from the annual levy on all taxable real property in said sewer district deemed to be especially benefited thereby in an amount sufficient to pay the principal and interest on said bonds at the same become due. But if not paid from such source, all the taxable real property in said town shall be subject to the levy of ad valorem taxes without limitation as to rate or amount sufficient to pay the principal of an interest on said bonds, as the same shall become due and payable. And whereas the estimated cost of hookup fees to the typical property in said sewer district will be a $65 town permit fee plus private lateral installation costs ranging from $10,000 to $100,000 per service connection to the main. And there are no one or two family homes therein, whereas the estimated cost of the district of the typical property herein is $580,704 in the first year, in which operation, maintenance, debt service, and other charges and expenses are to be paid. And whereas a detailed explanation of the manner by which were computed and said estimated costs of hookup fees and first year costs of the typical property has been filed in the office of the town clerk, where the same are available during regular office hours for examination by any person interested in the subject matter thereof. And whereas the establishment of the sewer district and the capital project proposed therefore and the mixed-use redevelopment of the properties to be included in said sewer district, for which the town has reviewed and approved a development master plan, subdivision, and various other associated approvals, all of which were subject of an environmental impact statement prepared pursuant to the regulations of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, proclamated pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And whereas on December 6, 2017, the town board adopted a secret finding statement in accordance with 6 New York CRR Part 617 Town Board Finding Statement, dated December 6, 2017, finding that the redevelopment of the properties to be located within the sewer district, including the capital improvements contemplated for the sewer district, avoids or minimizes potential adverse environmental impacts to the maximum extent practical by incorporating various mitigation measures and conditions as set forth in the finding statement. And whereas after a comprehensive review on June 4th, 2019, the Town Planning Board adopted its own secret finding statement as an involved agency reviewing the proposed redevelopment and preliminary and final subdivision plat, creating the various lots to be benefited by the sewer district. Generally concurring with the town board's determination in the town board finding statement that the project as depicted on said preliminary and final subdivision plat, including the capital improvements contemplated for the sewer district, avoids or minimizes to the maximum extent practical any potential significant adverse environmental impacts. And whereas an application for permission to establish said sewer district with the Office of the State Department of Audit and Control at Albany, New York, in accordance with Section 194 of the town law, is required based upon the typical cost of the typical property in the first year of operation. And whereas it is now necessary to adopt a public interest resolution as to the establishment of the sewer district, now therefore It is hereby resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, as follows. Section 1, upon the petition, map, and plan report, as well as the evidence given at this aforesaid public hearing, it is hereby found and determined as follows. A, the petition is signed and acknowledged or approved as required by law and is otherwise sufficient. B, all the property and property owners within said proposed Hudson Heritage Sewer District as described in the preambles hereof are benefited thereby. C, all the property and property owners' benefit are included within the limits of the said proposed Hudson Heritage Sewer District. And D, the establishment of said proposed Hudson Heritage Sewer District is in the public interest. Section 2. The establishment of the Hudson Heritage Sewer District in the town of Poughkeepsie and the construction of the sewer collection systems, including original furnishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, appurtenances, and incidental improvements and expenses in connection therewith at a maximum estimated cost of $11,320,000 are hereby approved, subject to the approval of the State Comptroller. Said sewer district shall be bounded and described as in Exhibit A attached hereto and hereby determined to be a part hereof. The method of financing, the cost of said improvements shall be the issuance not to exceed $6,086,270 serial bonds of said town maturing in annual installments over a period not exceeding 40 years. Such bonds to be payable in the first instance from assessments levied upon the collection from several lots and parcels of land deemed benefited from the improvements, so much upon and from each as shall be in just proportion to the amount of the benefit which the improvement shall confer upon the same. But if not paid from such source, all the taxable real property in said town shall be subject to the levy of ad valorem taxes without limitation as to the rate or amount sufficient to pay the principal of interest on said bonds as the same become due and payable. The remaining $5,233,730 cost shall be a contribution of the petitioner as the landowner and developer. Section 3, the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to cause a certified copy of this resolution to be duly recorded in the office of the clerk of Dutchess County and filed in the office of the State of Audit and Control at Albany, New York, in the manner and within the time prescribed by Section 195, subsection 1 of Town Law, being within 10 days of adoption of this resolution, said resolution being submitted to the State Department of Audit and Control together with the application by the Town Board in duplicate for permission to establish such district as provided by subdivision 3 of section 194 of the town law of the state of New York, and such applications shall be executed by and on behalf of the town board by the supervisor of the town. Section 4, this resolution shall take effect immediately.
So moved.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in
And
favor?
the question of this is going to roll call vote, and I'm going to start with you,
No,
Jake.
wait, before you.
Oh, sorry.
vote.
Yes,
Does anybody have any questions on this before we vote on it?
Mike, can you reread that?
Just for the record, yes, typically long resolutions are drafted by me because it just that way. But although I had a hand in this, this was from Douglas Goodfriend because this is required under state law. But
Thank you.
Okay.
It's very thorough.
Roll call?
Okay, roll call. I'm going to go with you, Jay, first, only because you're top of the list here.
Aye.
Jeff Renahan,
Aye.
Bill Carlos,
Aye.
Jessica Lopez, are you out there? Just checking. Okay, we'll move on. Mike Saffone,
Aye.
Stefan Krakauer,
Aye.
and Ann Shershin.
Aye.
Okay. The vote passes 6-0.
Did you vote, Jay?
Yes, he
Yes,
did.
vote
Mike, do you
first.
want to
Yep.
do this
He
one?
went first.
Pardon me.
4B, Stefan.
Oh, wow. Whereas the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, has duly caused to be prepared a map showing the boundaries of the proposed sewer district in said town to be known as the Hudson Heritage Sewer District, and a general plan to serve said sewer district, and a report of the proposed improvements and method of operation thereof, including an estimated cost. Whereas said map, plan, and report were prepared by a competent engineer duly licensed by the state of New York and have been filed in the office of the town clerk of said town, where the same are available during regular office hours for examination by any persons interested or in the subject matter. And whereas the establishment of the Hudson Heritage Sewer District, the capital project proposed therefor, and the mixed-use redevelopment of the properties to be included in said Hudson Heritage Sewer District, for which the town has reviewed and approved a development master plan, subdivision, and various other associated approvals, all of which were the subject of an environmental impact statement prepared pursuant to the regulations of New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, promulgated pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and whereas on December 6, 2017, we'll drop a whereas out of that. The town board adopted secret findings statement in accordance with 6 NYCRR Part 617. Town board findings statement dated December 6, 2017, finding that the redevelopment of the properties to be located within the Hudson Heritage Sewer District, including the capital improvements contemplated for the district, avoids or minimizes potential adverse environmental impacts to the maximum extent practical by incorporating various mitigation measures and conditions as set forth in the findings statement. And whereas after comprehensive review on June 4th, 2019, the town planning board adopted its own secret findings statement as an involved agency reviewing the proposed redevelopment and preliminary and final subdivision plat, creating the various lots to be benefited by the Hudson Heritage Sewer District. One, generally concurring with the town board's determination in the town board findings statement that the project as depicted on said preliminary and final subdivision plat, including the capital improvements contemplated for the district, avoids or minimizes the maximum extent practical any potential significant adverse environmental impacts. And whereas an order was duly adopted by said town board on November 18, 2020, reciting a description of the boundaries of the Hudson Heritage Sewer District, the improvements proposed, the maximum amount proposed to be expended for said improvements, the proposed methods of financing to be employed, the fact that said map plan and report including an estimate of costs, were on file in the town clerk's office for public inspection and specifying the 16th day of December 2020 at 7:00 p.m. local time at the town hall in Poughkeepsie, New York, in said town as a time and the place where said town board would meet for the proposed purpose of holding a public hearing to consider the establishment of the Hudson Heritage Sewer District and said map plan and report, including estimate of cost filed in relation thereto, and to hear all persons interested in the subject thereof concerning the same. And whereas said the notice of the aforesaid public hearing was duly published and posted in the manner and within the time prescribed by Section 193 of the town law, and proof of publication and posting have been duly presented to the said town board, and whereas said public hearing was duly held in the time and place in said order as aforesaid, at which all persons desiring to be heard were duly heard, and whereas said town board duly considered said map plan and report, including estimate of cost and the evidence given at said public hearing, and whereas said town board in the proceeding previously adopted on January 20th, 2021, has made the determinations required by Section 194 of the town law after careful review of the cost and project as proposed and upon advice as to its continued feasibility at said cost. And whereas an application for approval for a formation of said Hudson Heritage Sewer District has been prepared for submission to the Office of the State Comptroller, and the town board has reviewed said application. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, as follows. Section 1, upon the evidence given at the aforesaid public hearing and review of the application of the Office of State Comptroller for permission to establish the Hudson Heritage Sewer District, it is hereby found and determined as follows pursuant to the requirements of Section 85.3B1 of Chapter 3 of Title 2 of the New York Codes, Rules, and Regulations. A, the application to the Office of the State Comptroller attached hereto as Exhibit A and hereby made a part hereof was prepared at the direction of this town board, and this town board believes its contents to be accurate. B, the establishment of the proposed Hudson Heritage Sewer District is in the public interest and will not constitute an undue burden on the property which will bear the cost thereof. C, all the property and property owners within the proposed Hudson Heritage Sewer District as described in the preambles hereof are benefited thereby. And D, all the property and property owners benefited are included within the limits of the proposed Hudson Heritage District. Section 2, the town clerk shall, as soon as practicable, but in any event within 10 days after the date hereof, file certified copies of this resolution in duplicate in the Office of the State Department of Audit and Control at Albany, New York, together with the application by this board in duplicate for permission to establish the Hudson Heritage Sewer District as provided by Subdivision 3A of Section 194 of the New York Law of the State of New York, and that such application shall be executed by and on behalf of the town board by the supervisor of the town. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately. So moved.
Second.
Second.
A second. Any
I was just hoping my mic wasn't muted.
No. Any questions on this one?
Mike, do you think we should have Stefan reread this?
I missed part of it.
Nope.
No.
Just kidding.
Mike was
I
listening
was
closely.
afraid, because when I looked up, all I see is a big Jeff, and on my screen it says Jeff Renahan spotlighted. I have no idea what that means.
What is that all about?
I don't know. I looked up and I saw you, and I went like that, and I looked down, and I don't know what I don't know what spotlighted means, but here we go.
Roll call?
Sorry.
Okay.
Jay Baisley,
Aye.
Jeff Renahan,
Aye.
Bill Carlos,
Aye.
Mike Safone,
Aye.
Stefan Krakauer,
Aye.
and Ian Shershin.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Good night. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, there was so long.
Ann?
Wanna read
Okay.
the next?
All set? Whereas Morris Associates Engineering Consultants, PLLC, for many years provided engineering services to the town of Poughkeepsie and has merged with CPL Architects, Engineers, Landscape Architects, and Surveyors, DPC, CLPL. And whereas the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie wishes to extend Morris CPL contract, which expires on December 31st, 2020, for an additional 5-year term unless earlier determination as therein provided, and whereas the board finds that it would be in the best interest of the town to renew the Morris CPL contract without the procurement of alternate proposals, the renewal contract to be on the terms and conditions annexed hereto as Exhibit A. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement for professional engineering services in substantially the form presented with CPL Architects, Engineers, Landscape Architect, and Surveyor, DPC. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Well, I guess I picked the easy one. Be it resolved, the town board of town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the certificates of attendance for Nicole Giamatti, Ben Pagnanelli, Carl Whitehead for a 2-hour educational class for participation in the New York State Department of State winter webinar entitled Skills That Make Great Board Members, copies of which are attached. So moved.
Second.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any questions?
I'd like to just thank our board members for going to all these trainings, because it does take time away from their families, and they really do put a lot of effort into serving on our board, so I'd like to thank them for that.
And developing the skills to be great board members.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Jeff?
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor and board members to execute a sewer tenancy option agreement extension for up to 18,000 gallons per day for 5 years from October 4th, 2020 between the town of Poughkeepsie on behalf of the Arlington Sewer District, Arlington Sewer Service Area, the Arlington Sewer Service Area Number 1, the Southgate Sewer District, and other town districts and improvements, and 354 Sheep Road Property LLC tenant for its 3 parcels, which option agreement shall include but not limited to annual option payments of $8,200, the payment of $15 per gallon per day, or the then prevailing rate on exercise of the option, the exercise of said option to be not later than signing of a site plan for any of the parcels, with all easements and access rights for any line constructed by the tenant to be acquired at the tenant's expense, and all design connections and construction to be per good engineering practice as determined by the town engineer. Be it further resolved that the supervisor and board members are authorized upon execution of option agreement extension to simultaneously execute an agreement regarding benefit units with the tenant on behalf of the town's tri-municipal sewer district for the 3 parcels, with both agreements to be in form approved by the supervisor after consultation with the town engineer and attorney to the town. And be it further resolved that the town board determines that signing these documents involves the ongoing administration, town functions, and that no secret review is required because this is a type 2 action. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Just a comment I want to make, 354 Sheaf Road, we really have no idea why that was the name of the company LLC, but that is not the address. The address is the furthest end on Sheaf Road. It's 3 properties coming right off of Route 9. So that's not the address.
Before you go to the next one, Resolution 4B, which had to do with the application to the comptroller, there was a recitation in it, as it was typed, saying that the public interest resolution was adopted on the 20th of January. In fact, it was adopted as number 4A tonight on the 27th. So
I changed that before the meeting because I went through, that's the first page that they didn't read, correct? That mentions the date.
I think it occurred inside it, but to be careful, could someone propose a motion to amend 4B to provide that the public interest resolution was adopted on January 27th, 2021?
I'll make that motion.
We've moved past that, Jim. We're done
All
with
those
that.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Excuse me, who seconded that?
I think Bill did.
Okay, thank you.
Bill?
Thank you.
Number 8.
Number 8. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the settlement of a tax certiorari proceeding instituted by HGP Realty Corporation, Page 5 LLC, and Fox Run at Fulton LLC for the 2019 and 2020 tax assessment rolls as shown on the attached stipulation for the following properties: 275 Manchester Road, SBL number 6261045334850000. Number 2, 743 to 747 Main Street, SBL number 6161076918540000. Number 3, I-60 Campus View Courts, SBL number 6162051617880000, and Lake Street, SBL number 616209168737-0000. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor or his designee, town assessor Jennifer Munn and Shane J. Egan Esquire of Campilino, Rothschild and Egan LLP to sign such papers as take such actions that are necessary to effectuate the settlement. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on that one?
Yeah, what's the refund, the town portion of the refund?
743 Main Street. Town is $279. Then $280. $3,399 and $3,408. So
Okay, all right.
about a little over $8,000.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Who read that one?
Who read that one?
Bill.
Bill read that one.
Okay.
Whereas the town board, town of Poughkeepsie, has heretofore received an application submitted by Shelby Adrian to hold an event called Valentine's Vendor Pop-Up located at Cottage Square, 44 Eastdale Avenue North, Poughkeepsie, New York, on Saturday, February 13th, 2021, from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. And whereas the presence of food vendors is a vital part of a successful event, now therefore be it resolved, the town board, the town of Poughkeepsie, does not include the vendors of food participating in this Valentine's Vendor Pop-Up as peddlers and hawkers. And these vendors are thereby exempt from the provisions of Chapter 151 of the Town Code. Be it further resolved that the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie, does hereby approve the application as submitted for said event to be held on Saturday, February 13th, 2021. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Stephen Canuck, Joe Prisco, James Thorne, Carla Hornbeck, Sean Derrigan, Krista Barisha, Don Manning, Chris Reardon to the positions of substitute court attendant, the town of Poughkeepsie Justice Court, a salary of $22 per hour, effective immediately, which appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 8 nor more than 26 weeks per civil service law. And be it further resolved, the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documents required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with these appointments. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Yeah, I have some questions on this. Now, are they being paid per hour, or are they going to be paid for a set number of hours each time they come in?
When they go to work, they're going to get paid, and there's a 3-hour minimum.
So even if the court's 2 hours, they get paid for a 3-hour minimum?
Yep.
Okay, fine. And I believe we still have one court attendant left from the last group,
Correct, she's still hired.
and she's still hired. Is she going to get paid at the $22
Yes.
level?
Yep.
Okay.
Everybody's been brought up.
Yep.
Okay.
But
Being-
court's not open yet,
Yeah,
so
so
I was
this
just
is
gonna
just,
say,
just to get them lined up and ready to go.
we're ready to
but
go,
they're not
so
open.
we could get them trained and everything.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay.
I didn't get that part.
Oh.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion passes 5-1. Stefan?
Be it resolved, the town board.
You
Well, I
just
just
read
read
that.
that one.
Oh.
number 11.
Oh, Ann.
Yeah, it's my turn. Be resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby acknowledge receipt of a request on behalf of Cheese Grill, 805 Dutchess Turnpike, Poughkeepsie, New York, for a waiver of a 30-day review period for a liquor license application, and be further resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the town clerk's forwarding of a waiver and consent pursuant to the attached request. So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And it'll be nice to see this space filled. It's the old diner on 44.
Oh.
Whereas the state of New York has adopted legislation providing that senior citizen disability real property tax exemption appearing on the 2020 tax assessment rolls will be continued on the 2021 assessment rolls without necessity of application provided, however, that municipalities may require owners to apply for continuation of exemption if an assessor believes that the property no longer qualifies for the exemption. Now therefore be it resolved, the town of Poughkeepsie assessor Jennifer Mund be and is hereby authorized to require the filing of senior citizen disability exemption renewal applications if she believes that a property may no longer be eligible for exemption, and if it is determined by the assessor the property is in fact no longer eligible, to remove the exemption effective as of the date of the assessor's determination of ineligibility, and be it further resolved that this town board determines the adoption of the resolution is a type 2 action requiring no secret review. So moved.
Second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Caroline Fenner to the Conservation Advisory Commission for a 2-year term, which term will run from January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2022. So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any questions on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Resolution number 14. Whereas the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby find that the proposed extension of the operations, maintenance, and management agreement, herein the agreement, between Suez Water Environmental Services, Inc., FKA United Water Environmental Services, Inc., and the town is a type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act relating to the provision of professional services, the maintenance, rehabilitation, and reconstruction of equipment, and the Arlington wastewater treatment plant. Now therefore, be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to execute a letter of agreement in substantially the form attached on terms acceptable to the supervisor and the attorney to the town, with Suez Water Environmental Services, Inc., to effect an 8-year term extension of the agreement to supervise, operate, and maintain the Arlington wastewater treatment plant, including flow from the former Country Club treatment plant, which extension term shall commence on July 5th, 2021, and end on December 31st, 2029, with the agreement terms to remain in full force and effect, except to the extent specifically modified by the letter of agreement. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any question on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved, town, was that me?
Yep.
Be resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby grant special consent to the following items to wit. 1, accept the donation from Rita S. Sims for Highway Department. And 2, adopt the Health Dependent Care FHA amendments. Be it further resolved that upon the objection of any member of the Town Board, an item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
SC1, be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept with appreciation a donation of $50 from Rita S. Sims, and be it further resolved that said donation, which was made to our Highway Department in appreciation of its responsiveness, will be used to offset Highway Department needs. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? I would just like to thank Mrs. Sims for the donation and thank the Highway Department for their great job out there that got the donation for the Highway Department. It's always nice when you get in the compliment and the fact that the person cared enough to write a check, donate, and send in a nice letter thanking the Highway Department for the great job they do. I think goes a long way to Superintendent of Highways and the staff over there. So thanks everybody involved.
I agree. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Whereas a result of COVID-19 pandemic, the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021 allows employers and plan sponsors the opportunity to provide increased flexibility in the administration of their health flexible spending accounts and/or dependent care accounts for the plan years ending 2020 and 2021. Now therefore be resolved that the following changes are hereby adopted and ratified by the Town of Poughkeepsie. 1. The plans with a roller option carry over any unused amounts remaining in the healthcare FSA to the next plan year, not limited to the current IRS max. Carry over any unused amounts remaining in the dependent care FSA to the next year plan. 2. For plans with a grace period option, extensions of the grace period for health FSA and dependent care FSA 6 months. 3. Additional options. Increase the age of covered dependents from 13 to 14 years of age when submitting for allowable dependent care expenses. Revoke, add, increase, or decrease a health FSA election without traditional qualifying event. Prospective change only. Revoke, add, increase, or decrease the dependent care FSA election without a traditional qualifying event. Prospective change only. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on that? The only comment I have, this isn't costing the town anything. The government just gave us options with the FSA cards with COVID to sort of give a little more flexibility to people, being the fact that a lot of them couldn't get their doctor visits in last year. Their cards, instead of expiring basically on December 31st, will be carried on further in the year. So it's just beneficial to everybody with what was going on and gives them more time to use up some of their money from last year and some of the other changes in here, but it's no cost to the town at all. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. That brings us to the end of our agenda. I'd like to go on to committee of the whole meeting for committee reports. Finance, Stefan?
Nothing to report just yet, so.
Technology? Stefan?
That me also?
Yeah.
Also nothing to report. I am trying to get my email back up online. I realized that the password expired, so
It's,
means I've been here for at least 60 days.
we are currently working on, so you know that you're new and back, we are working on a new website, and hopefully in the next month or so, we should be ready to put that online probably by March. We're reviewing it now in-house through IT and a small committee in-house. If you want to call, we can fill you in on that. Ann, recreation?
Yes, the concerts for this upcoming year have been scheduled. There are 8 concerts, and information about them can be found on the website. For summer camp, they're currently interviewing staff and reaching out for previous staff, so they're getting ready to get that organized for this coming year. And also registration for youth sports are open. And last Saturday, our recreation department with the Dutchess County Division of Veterinary Service had a veteran-to-veteran charity drive, and it was very successful. They got a huge pile of clothes and an even bigger pile of food and toiletries, and $4,000 in cash donations. So it was a very successful event.
Yeah, Brian Bellino did a really good job with that, and was really kind of trying to get a lot of people involved, and so I thank you to Brian for all his efforts.
No, it went over
and the other
very well.
people that chipped in.
Fire advisory, Jeff?
No report.
Infrastructure and land use?
Yes, I have a matter that I think the town board needs to be know of, and the citizens in our town. There's a project called the Champlain Hudson Power Express project. It's being done by Transmission Developers, Inc. This is to put a very heavy-duty electric cable down the Hudson River coming from Canada. It's going to go down the Hudson River to Spuyten Duyvil, where it's going to make a left turn and go down into the city to the power plant in Astoria, Queens. In and of itself, that makes no difference to any of us. This is to replace the electricity from Indian Point. The problem is the installation of the cable, which is being done by a jet dredge. I want you to picture a piece of equipment that looks like a plow, like a farmer's plow, on some wheels with a jet-powered, I don't know what you want to call it, force behind it. It's going to be dragged by a ship down the Hudson River. This jet dredge plow is supposed to go between the intakes for our water plant, and it's going to go past all the other water plants in the mid-Hudson Valley. The concern is that the jet part of this is going to blow up a lot of turbidity. Now, our plant manager, Randy Alstead, top drone person, has told me that we deal with turbidity every spring. Everybody who lives along the Hudson River knows that it gets that dark brown, comes the spring runoff. He's not concerned about that. What he is concerned about is, for years, there have been contamination in the river. For example, PCBs. And that has flowed down the river because the river is an estuary. It's an alive thing. Particles of that are in the sediment along the base of the river. His concern is those will get blown back up into the water column, into our plant. That is something that I'm concerned about. The group called the Hudson 7 is concerned about. And I will keep this board updated as we go through this. It seems to have been that topic that is missed in the media. I understand there was recently a story in the paper about it. They do not, how can I put it? The light of public view on something like this is very important for us. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you,
Personnel, Jeff or Mike?
Nothing to report.
Building consolidation, nothing to report yet. Master plan, Bill?
Master plan. We finished tonight a review of the first draft of the master plan. We're looking at trying to get something done where we can bring it in front of our town board, maybe by the end of the year. This is a significant process, and that's where we are right now. Hopefully at the next comprehensive plan review committee meeting in February, we'll have what we would consider a final draft. So we're getting to the point. There are many more hurdles, but we're getting there.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item at all.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd like to, before you speak, Doreen, I just wanted to say thank you, Doreen, for chatting to me how to get Jeff out of being in the spotlight.
Jeff likes being in the spotlight.
I guess when I moved my folder of
that sounds like an
papers on the
insult.
thing, it must have touched something,
Oh,
and I had
you
no
like being in
clue.
the spotlight. It's
So thanks, Doreen, and now you may speak.
Go ahead, Doreen.
You're welcome. It was a little unnerving.
Yeah, it was. I'm
I like to
sorry.
be in the spotlight.
So I have a question on agenda item number 5. I may have missed it about the contract with CPL and Morris Associates. Is there any maximum amount associated with that for the year? I didn't see it in the documentation, but I could be missing it.
Yes, Doreen.
Jay, do you
it's
know offhand?
What we did is we changed it a little bit this year. There's a monthly rate. We lowered the
Yeah, I saw
hours
that.
from the head engineer, Don, will be working only part-time now, so that was lowered. And the other part-timer hours are the same. We no longer have Sean, so that's gone, and we'll be working on an hourly basis with that. I can give you those numbers tomorrow. I don't have it right in front of me right now.
You know,
but-
the individual numbers were in there, like 5,850 per month for associate, 4,375 for assistant engineer per month. But I just didn't know if there was a maximum, like, you know, are you free to spend $1 million a year on this? Or?
No, it's just those two numbers multiplied by 12, and all the other stuff would come out of regular town budget items if we're to use money for anything besides those.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then the other thing on that is, I know it's a professional service, so you don't have to go out for an RFP, but, you know, I think the 20 years or so I've been attending meetings, it's always been Morris Associates, and now Morris Associates is part of CPL. And again, you know, you don't know if you're potentially able to get better pricing if you don't go out for an RFP. But aside from that, my next comment is, we did get our tax bill. And I'd like to thank the town because the change in the levy from the prior year for the town was, according to our tax bill, only 0.6%. And contrast that with the Arlington Fire District increase of 7.8%. I really appreciate the fact that the town tax is so much less than the Arlington Fire District taxes. So thank you for that.
Doreen, we've done our best. I mean, we had an early retirement plan, which you noticed, so we're gonna have some slow-moving growing pains, and we'll really reevaluate what spots we need to fill and what spots we don't need to fill. So we're not gonna be in a rush, because we also don't understand where the economy is going once the fallout from the pandemic slows down, you know, where we stand, so we wanna make sure we're as prepared as possible, so we will only fill those slots as really needed, and we'll be extremely thorough on anything we spend this year also, because it looks so far that we made all our numbers and we stayed under the budget for last year. So far we're going well, and we're being extremely cautious this year also, because we do understand there's still a lot of uncertainty out there today.
And I was also wondering, can the documents from the, that the town board was provided for the committee of the whole item for the rezoning on Tucker Drive, can those be posted so we can take a look at those?
Yeah, we'll get a
Yeah, the
copy of
wetland
them.
report, if the site plans were electronic, all the information that,
Probably have them somewhere.
that the consultant said she gave to the board, can that be posted?
Yeah, we'll get them up there, because I hadn't received them as of today. They may still be in my email.
All right, thank you, because I would like to take a look. You know, it's important that we protect our wetlands and wetland buffers, and the Casper
I'm
Hill
sure.
Creek, I believe, also flows through there. So I'd like to be able to take a better look at that, because you are updating the comprehensive plan. You filed, I guess, also received a grant for the natural resources inventory. You're part of a climate smart community. And again, all that really includes, and the Hudson 7, which was mentioned tonight to protect the drinking water in the Hudson River. And all of that includes wetland and wetland buffer protection and tributaries to the Hudson River. So it's all very important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, I'll make sure you get that. Anybody else? Anybody else?
I
like
do
to-
not see anybody, but
All right, motion to resume the rules?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby adjourned to executive session to consider the following: discussions regarding proposed, pending, or current litigation. Gretel, Pedersen,
Mercante?
Mercante, and discuss matters which are exempt under open meetings law, including matters subject to attorney-client privilege, and be it further resolved, no action appropriating money will be taken. So moved.
Second.
Get a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board goes into executive session at 8:06 PM. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening, and Jeff, thanks for being our showcase.